When Baruch Cohen was about to graduate law school in Los Angeles, the dean called him into his office. There's a very prestigious law firm from New York that's expanding to Los Angeles, and they have called to interview you, the dean told him. These guys are the big leagues. This is extraordinary. They usually only take lawyers from Ivy League school. Highly unusual for them to ask for a specific interview. This is your big shot, continued the dean. Make it count. Before he left, the dean told Baruch one more thing. I think you should leave your yarmulke off for the interview. I know you're religious and it means a lot to you, but this is a one-time opportunity to make an impression and land your dream job. Don't ruin it by potentially turning them off with your yarmulke. Baruch was torn. He had attended yeshiva throughout his life and had only entered law school after graduating post-high school yeshiva. He had always worn his yarmulke, even when clerking for the county or in the courtroom. But maybe this was different. He consulted other observant lawyers who all told him that wearing a yarmulke was simply not done. He even approached his rabbi, who agreed that it was permissible to remove his kippah if it would advance his parnasa, his livelihood. Baruch was at a crossroads. He was recently married with a young child at home. This was an opportunity of a lifetime, so Baruch decided to remove his yarmulke. On the day of the interview, with his yarmulke safely stowed away in his pocket, Baruch opened the doors to the impressive-looking office for his meeting. To his complete shock, sitting across from him was a yarmulke-wearing lawyer. With a similarly shocked face, the lawyer across the desk demanded, "Where's your yarmulke?" "I don't understand." Before Baruch could even answer, the lawyer continued, "Do you know how you got this interview? I happened to be in bankruptcy court and noticed you clerking for the judge while wearing a yarmulke. I was so impressed that a young Jewish lawyer was proudly wearing his kippah. So we researched you and discovered that you had studied in yeshiva before entering law school. We got excited. This is a great combination. A yeshiva student, a lawyer with conviction and character. But now you're showing up to the interview without your yarmulke? You're a sellout," the lawyer remarked sadly. "You made the choice to hide who you are. We're not looking for followers at this firm. We're looking for leaders. This interview is over." Baruch returned home reeling, not only from the lost opportunity, but from the recognition that this lawyer was right. Baruch resolved from that moment on to never compromise on his identity and to always stand tall as a proud Jew. I'm reminded of this story by the momentous encounter between Yaakov and Esav found in this week's Parsha. Yaakov prepared copiously, sending gifts, praying, and formulating a battle plan. However, when the actual showdown happens between Yaakov and Esav, it couldn't be more anticlimactic. The brothers embrace without any hostility or scuffle. But when we examine the narrative, we notice that just before the meeting, Yaakov has an encounter with a strange man. He wrestles with him throughout the night, but emerges victorious. At the end of the night, Yaakov is blessed by the stranger with a new name, Yisrael. The pasuk tells us, "Vayibasar Yaakov levado," Yaakov remained alone throughout the night. The Rambam actually takes the view that Yaakov's struggle was not with another person or angel. It was with himself. It was an internal struggle. What's the significance of this struggle and the name change? And how was this the catalyst that allowed Yaakov and Esav to reconcile? The name Yaakov comes from the word akev, heel. From the moment Yaakov was born, he was holding onto the heel of Esav. Yaakov grew up trying to be his brother. He wanted his firstborn birthright. He wanted to be his father's favorite. He sensed that Yitzchak saw the future of Am Yisrael in Esav, and so Yaakov felt that if he would only be a better Esav than Esav was, he would merit to be the future of the Jewish nation. And that's what Yaakov was struggling with on the night before he met Esav. He was wrestling with his inner identity. Do I try and replace Esav, or do I finally face the man in the mirror? Do I embrace my own identity? Yaakov was the name of insecurity. It was the brother that couldn't shake free from Esav's shadow. But at the end of the night, Yaakov had a new name, Yisrael. Yaakov finally embraced his true identity. I am Yisrael. I have my own path, which will prove to be the future of Am Yisrael. My morals, my Taryag mitzvahs, which I faithfully kept in Haran, these are what will ensure my future. Yaakov finally graduated into his own man. And that's why Esav's anger mysteriously abated. Esav wasn't upset that Yaakov was different. He didn't hate Yaakov for taking the firstborn rights. He didn't even care about them. He was upset that Yaakov was trying to rob him of his identity. When they finally met, Esav realized that Yaakov was different. He saw his brother for the first time, comfortable in his own identity and destiny. He was Yisrael. Esav finally respected Yaakov, and that allowed them to reconcile. Perhaps that's why the Gemara famously tells us that it's a halacha that Esav hates Yaakov, but it doesn't say Esav hates Yisrael. Non-Jews, even anti-Semites, respect Jews who respect themselves. It's only when we stay true to our convictions and identity that we are respected and revered. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos.